Hey, what's up, everybody? Professor Lyrical here, chilling in my home. I wanted to bring to your attention a thought that I had and a larger issue of concerns in terms of equity in education. The strategic plan of my institution is actually called the equity imperative, which is real refreshing. That the word imperative follows the equity. You know, a lot of times we hear equity as kind of a buzzword floating around, and it's like, what does it really mean? And having a plan that lays that out, where people can actually see, you know, where they can get their piece of the pie and make equity an imperative. Meaning that they can find space for, you know, creating equity in the small domains that they have control over. I think we see all too often in higher education that schools have a great ability to enact change, but often really it's difficult for them. They're historically slow to do what the entrepreneurs and business communities can do a little bit more effectively, which is pivot. Schools don't adapt very quickly. In fact, if they were pivoting, if they were like basketball players, they would they'd be called for 3 seconds. Like they wouldn't be pivoting quickly enough in the low post at all. And we start to see institutions fail and fall by the wayside. When some of them were thought a lot like big industries being too big to fail, we actually see some of these institutions starting to crumble because of their lack of ability to pivot. And being truthful, the institutions weren't really designed to enact change. It's just the call of forward-thinking folks that are in the institutions that are trying to make them change. In fact, they were created for the opposite reason. They were to maintain the status quo. But we have this massive power with the resources that come with these institutions and the pillars that they are in the communities. They have a responsibility, and the people have called them out for that. And in some cases, their failure to actually realize that responsibility. So what can we do in our little fiefdoms, our classrooms, or the parts of the school that we operate within to actually make sure that we can bring about equity? And just to clarify, equity is obviously different than equality, where that equality is just sort of a blanket, one size fits all. Everybody deserves X. Equity is more concerned about what a person needs now to level the playing field for that individual so that they can compete and they can prosper despite any obstacles, hardships, or barriers that were in their way. We can do that as educators quickly, and we can pivot for our universities, effectively making the universities pivot. But we have to realize our power to do it and to think about it before we go into the classrooms and back to our offices. Think about, where does our power reside, and how can we enact that power to make the greatest change and impact for our students and our communities, and community in the largest and truest sense. So that's my question, that's my thought, and respond. Thanks.